Hi there. So today I want to talk a little bit about forgiveness because over the next month, we're going to get into relationships and the challenges that we deal with as it relates to relationships and things like that. And there are all sorts of relationships that we end up forming. And really, at the soul level, everybody is a soulmate, whether they seem to be a positive relationship or whether it seems to be a negative relationship. Everybody is there to show us aspects of ourselves so that we can sort of calibrate and understand what work we have to do to fully embrace and accept ourselves. So for the next few days, I'm going to touch on a couple of different relationships. And today I want to talk about the boy on the bus who called me fat every day. And I had touched about this in one of my earlier videos. This week, this boy died, and he died of a drug related issue. And it kind of surprised me because I never really knew that he had a drug problem. But that's neither here nor there. And I call him Andy in my book, and I'm going to call him Andy here. Just to kind of recap on my history with him, when I was growing up, he rode my bus. And every day, my morning mantra was that he would get on the bus after me, and then he would totally abuse me and call me fat the whole way to school. So that was my morning mantra. And then one day another boy came on the bus who normally drove, and he was like, why are you doing that to her? You're fat yourself, so why are you doing that to her? Which I never considered him fat. I always just considered him gorgeous. Later on in my life, after I got into learning and teaching self-love, I explored this relationship a little bit more, and I saw that he was so great, so great. He played that part so well at being a complete asshole and at showing me the thoughts that I was thinking about myself. So he was showing me my thoughts in 3D, holographic, true to form, live action. There it was in my face. And it was really, really painful to hear that and endure that every day. But I already had the thought. I was already thinking those things about myself. So all of our experiences that we call into our lives really are a reflection of what we're thinking about ourselves. And sometimes it's really, really, really hard to see what it is in us that drew those experiences to ourselves, especially when we're in the middle of it, especially when we're in the thick of it. And it's through forgiveness that we are able to then transcend that. So what happened was, years later, I was in a public speaking club and I was doing a speech, and I talked about this experience of this boy. And then I talked about how he must have had a self-perception that he was fat because this other person pointed it out. And he was trying to deflect attention away from himself and onto me. And so in that calling me fat, he was really actually expressing his own pain, but he was trying to dissociate from it, which I was trying to dissociate from it too. After I gave that speech and I talked about how he was projecting his pain onto me, and I took it and I believed it and I had an attachment to it and I had an investment in that thought. So it was really showing me what I thought about myself, and that it was in being able to recognize that I was then able to heal. So it was because he was so good at being such an asshole that I was able to then heal. And after I gave that talk that night, I had this dream. And in the dream, I was sitting at this round table and he was sitting to my right. And to me, it represented the world or the earth. And so he was sitting to my right, and I started telling the story about, like, at this table in this dream, I started telling the story about when we were younger and he would call me fat every day. And in the dream, he started to get really uncomfortable. And so I rubbed his leg in the dream and I was like, it's okay, it's okay. You know, this is actually a good thing. And then I explained and I went through saying how he showed me what I was thinking about myself. And then at the end of the dream, We hugged, and it was the most viscerally healing hug experience I've ever had in my life. And then later on, I wrote an article, like not in a dream, but in actual real life. And it was in the Minneapolis, The Edge newspaper, which is now The Edge magazine. And I talked about this. I talked about that experience. And I sent him the article after it was written. And I told him, I said, please don't ever, ever, ever think that our experience together was a negative experience. I was like, if it were not for you, I would not be able to see what I was doing to myself. And you really helped me in that, to see what I was doing and then to be able to provide me with context to heal it. So I sent that to him and I never heard from him again, but our families are in the same town and he moved away and he had his own successful career. And, I moved away as well. So it's not like after I graduated from high school, I think maybe I saw him once and that was it. So in his passing, it kind of saddens me a little bit because knowing that he was struggling with drug addiction just tells me that he never really was able to resolve his own issues with himself. And that if he felt that he had to be that mean to somebody else, there had to be something really hard going on in him and in his life. So, my point of all of this is that forgiveness is the key to resolving your own dissociation with yourself. And honestly, when it comes to relationships, forgiveness is the key to knowing whether you have healed. So, if you're still angry with somebody for something that's happened before, and if you're not fully free and grateful for the experience that you've had, there's probably some forgiveness work to do. And that's what we're going to be working through, and along with other issues through February, because in February, I'm going to be doing some consciousness alignments with Jill of the Conscious Dating Network. I'm also going to be working through a lot of other relationship challenges that you tell me that you would like me to work through. So please feel free to let me know what those things are, because once we get to that point of forgiveness, then everything's okay. It doesn't matter. Like, you're grateful for that life experience. So that's where you want to be in order to move on to your next most fulfilling relationship. So I'm going to talk about these types of experiences in my own life over the next few days. And then in February, we're going to start working through some of your issues that you tell me that you want to have me address. If you're interested in participating in my live group calls or having a private consultation, please go to healingcenter.com and you'll find out more information there about my work and especially consciousness alignments. And please don't forget to subscribe. I will see you on the next video.